Good evening, everybody. Welcome to ANC 2C community meeting for December 2021. It's hard to believe that 2021 is coming to a close, and I'd like to welcome everyone to our meeting this evening. I'd like to officially call the meeting to order at 6:03 p.m. And we have three of three commissioners present. Ellie Miskey from 2C02 and Gigi Nelson from 2C03. So hello, commissioners, and welcome. Tonight's agenda that we have before us, there's been a couple of modifications throughout the day today. Just putting this up here for us. 1 second. There we go. What we are planning on doing this evening, can everyone see that okay? No.
Not yet.
Resume sharing. How's that?
Okay. Yes.
Awesome. Terrific. We are going to change the order slightly this evening with having Brooke Pinto's office go first. They are going to be having a holiday party in a little bit. So they asked, and the mayor's office also supported them moving first. Declan Falls from the office of Chairman Middleton's office is under the weather this evening and is not going to be able to join us. I did have a request from DDOT to move their presentation up because they have to go to present at another ANC this evening. So we will be having the bus priority program related to 11th Street Northwest coming right after our announcements this evening from the government agencies. Then we'll move in to the local events that impact the community, including the Purple Stride 5K, the Chinese Lunar New Year Parade will be discussed. We wanted to provide you an update related to Abra and Tom's Watch Bar. We also have on the docket this evening to discuss Penn Social and expanded hours of a cafe operations that they are doing. And we're going to be ending this evening talking about the extension of the BZA order for 610, 624 I Street Northwest. Our final agenda item at 616 E Street Northwest, they have asked to move that item to our January meeting as they are still submitting their application materials for that. Are there any additional corrections or additions to the agenda, commissioners? Any community members have anything they would like us to add to the agenda this evening? All right. Then I would like to move that we approve the December 14th, 2021 agenda.
Second.
Seconded by Gigi. All those in favor, please raise your hands. 3 of 3 commissioners voting in favor of that. Commissioners, have you had the opportunity to review the November minutes?
Yes.
Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes?
No.
And is there a motion to approve is there a motion put forward to approve the minutes?
I will move to approve the minutes.
And is there a second?
Seconded.
Okay. And all those in favor? Awesome. So the November 2021 minutes are approved. I did notice this afternoon that for some reason, some of our minutes have disappeared from our website. I'm not sure why. So I'm going to be putting those minutes back on the site. But I did notice that this is strange with our website. Every now and again, we have some issues with that. So we will be making sure that those minutes are appropriately posted. Treasurer's report.
Okay, so I'm going to actually start with the October report because it will have to be amended. So the opening balance for October was $59,520.44. The activity for October, there were 4 things, and there were only 2 that were listed for in October, so I had to amend it to include the other 2, so 4 total. So there were the 2 quarterly allotments that came out, each in the amount of $1,821.05, or sorry, that didn't come out, but that actually went in for $1,821.05. And then there were two disbursements in the amount of $175 each for the minutes. So that total change was $3,292.10, leaving the closing balance for October at $62,812.54. So for November, the opening balance for November was $62,812.54. The closing balance for November was $62,779.54. There was 1 disbursement and expense in the amount of $33 that was charged by the bank for the stop payment for those checks that were lost in the mail. So that's what that expense was. So do you have any questions or anything about that? Anyone? No? Okay, the only other thing that I wanted to mention about as far as the Treasury goes is that we are in the process, of course, of initiating a grant program, and we hope to kick that off in January. So more information will be forthcoming about that, but the ANC 2C will initiate a grant program, and we have allotted for that $10,000. So there will be a process, and all that information will be on the website, and it's forthcoming. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Nelson. I appreciate that. And I know that we will be filing the Q4 report at our January meeting the Q1 report, I guess, at our January meeting coming up. I'm all mixed up here. Sorry about that.
I was about to say, we've done that one.
Done that one. It's done. It's in there. It's done. Terrific. Okay, moving forward, I would like is Brian on with us? Or someone from council member?
Hi, yep.
Oh, there
Can
you
you
are,
hear
Brian.
me?
I'm sorry. I remembered you were calling in. I apologize.
No problem. And can you hear me okay?
We can hear you fine.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'm coming to you live from the council's holiday party. But it is good to be with you all, and thank you for letting me go on the earlier side. First, Councilmember Pinto and our staff have been out and about in 2C recently. We were at the City Center tree lighting, the downtown holiday market, the Britney Spears musical at the Shakespeare Theater, and for booster shots at the MLK Library. If you still need your vaccine or booster or a flu shot, the MLK Library is taking walk-ins on Tuesdays and Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Wednesdays and Thursdays from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. I do believe they have Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, and Moderna available, but always, I think, better to get there on the earlier side. I know there have been lines a few days, this week at least. Next, I wanted to let you know that DPR is hosting a virtual community meeting tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. regarding the future of Cobb Park, which is the space between Massachusetts Avenue, H Street, 2nd Street, and 3rd Street Northwest. And the registration link should be posted in the chat, Chair, if that's okay with you.
Yep, already there.
Earlier. Perfect, thank you. It has been another busy few weeks at the council. Last week, the full council took their first vote on the ward level redistricting map, with 11 council members voting in favor of the map. Councilmember McDuffie was opposed, and Councilmember Gray was absent, and we wish him well in his recovery. If you haven't seen it, he has been in the hospital. The map that was voted on had a few changes to Ward 2, especially, and I will say very sadly, for ANC 2C. Commissioners Miskey and Nelson, I know parts of your SMDs will now be in Ward 6, and I think Councilmember Pinto has spoken with both of you already, but I can also put you in touch with Councilmember Allen's staff. Please let me know if you have not heard from them yet or would like to hear from them. And we are obviously so sad to lose any parts of Ward 2. We tried our best to keep everybody, but we are gaining many additional blocks in Shaw, north of New York Avenue, and east all the way to New Jersey Avenue, which is making Ward 2 the largest ward by population, almost 90,000 people. And so that is why we did have to shed a little bit to Ward 6, and it just unfortunately geographically was in 2C. So the debate now amongst the council is focused on changes between Wards 1 and 5. And I'll talk quietly as I think Councilmember Nadeau is near me, but the Armed Forces Retirement Home is being moved from Ward 5 to Ward 1. There was a 6-6 vote on an amendment to return that area to Ward 5 that did not succeed. That might come up again in the second and final vote on the ward boundaries, which is going to be on Tuesday, December 21st. We are still in the process of finalizing the members of the Ward 2 ANC Boundary Task Force, but we are almost finished with that. And as a reminder, these task forces will work from in January and February to make recommendations to the council. And the final vote on the ANC boundaries is not expected until June. So that is everything with redistricting. Last week, Councilmember Pinto introduced the Fund for All Act, which is also known as the Fairness in Use and Negotiation for All Recreational Property Act of 2021. This act is meant to ensure that all residents have fair access to DC's recreational spaces with meaningful public engagement and council oversight for all exclusive use or license agreements for DC government-owned properties that cover a period of 1 year or more. The reason why she proposed this is that currently, if an agreement has a value of less than $1 million, DC law allows the lease of this public space to private entities for decades without public input or council review. So this legislation also would ensure 30-day written notice of public hearings be given to the affected ANCs, which I'm sure you may all appreciate. So that is the Fund for All Act. Last week, the council took their final vote on the ceremonial renaming of the street in front of the Saudi embassy by the Kennedy Center for slain journalist Jamal Khashoggi. So that is now just awaiting, I believe, the mayor's signature and then congressional review. But DDOT is at the ready to print those signs. Councilmember Pinto's bill to provide free period products in all public and private schools also received another vote and will hopefully have its final vote on the 21st as well. And I think those are all the updates from me. I wish obviously all of you a happy and healthy holidays, and I will see you in 2022.
Thanks so much, Brian. We appreciate you being here. I just wanted to confirm with you that currently the ANCs would, correct me if I'm wrong, the ANCs would remain intact until the redistricting of the ANCs happen.
Correct. Although I've been told, though, even though the council won't vote on the redistricting until, so I guess they will vote on the redistricting of the ANC boundaries in June, but the ward boundaries obviously have to be finalized before then because of the primaries. But obviously ANCs, we don't have primaries, so I guess they will stay intact until later. I'll find out for you the exact date when those boundaries would be changing, but I don't think it would be until November probably.
Got you. Terrific. Thank you for that. I thought that was in fact the case, and I know that some, I believe all of Commissioner Miskey's district moves to Ward 6, and half of Commissioner Nelson's district moves over to 6. So we will be inviting Councilmember Allen to participate as we move forward in the ANCs starting next year, so that we can have representation from his office as well here. So, are there any questions or comments for Councilmember Pinto's office?
I just wanted to quickly note, Councilmember Pinto did say she would put us in touch with Charles Allen, Member Allen. I don't know, Gigi, if you have been yet, but I haven't. So I just wanted to note that would be good if you could make that connection.
Got it. I'll definitely do that. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Well, enjoy your holiday party.
Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your meeting. Thank you.
Thanks so much. And now we'll move to Mayor Two's Mayor's Liaison, Joe Florio.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I will go ahead and just jump right into my updates. This week, Mayor Bowser kicked off the Fair Shot Week to highlight the district's economic toolkit. You can find that at obviouslydc.com. And to launch the next round of the FY 2022 Great Streets Retail Small Business Grant Program. This is a $3.3 million Great Streets investment, and they highlighted the DC pop-up on the 1200 block of Connecticut Avenue on Monday. Today, Mayor Bowser also announced a request for information for commercial to residential office space conversions today at 1331 L Street Northwest. And this property is currently undergoing a conversion to residential space. Specifically, what does this mean for a request for information? DEMPED is seeking information particularly from current or prospective property owners about the current opportunities and challenges of residential conversions downtown in order to formulate impactful policy and program interventions. And so this will encourage conversion of commercial space, including office, hotel, or retail, to residential in Central Washington in order to increase, just having more people downtown, increasing the vibrancy of the downtown Central Washington area, and to increase affordable and workforce housing units downtown. Respondents must submit questions on the request for information by 5 p.m. on Thursday, December 30th, and the deadline for submission is 5 p.m. on Friday, January 28th. I will drop my email and phone number in the chat if anyone is interested or has follow-ups. I know that's a lot of information I just kind of put out there. Moving on to the vaccine update, children 5 to 11 years old are now eligible to get vaccinated. As Brian from Councilmember Pinto's office also stated, booster shots are now available. One for residents who are 18 and older and received a second dose of Pfizer or Moderna vaccine on or before May 29th, 2021. And the booster shots are available for residents who are 18 or older and received a Johnson & Johnson vaccination on or before September 29th, 2021. I personally got my booster this week at the MLK Library, and it was actually a fairly easy process. It took me 30 minutes from beginning to end, and that included the 15-minute wait time after the shot. So MLK Library is definitely a great place to get yours. MPD and ATF have partnered to offer a reward for up to $2,500 to anyone who provides information that leads to the recovery of an illegal firearm in the District of Columbia. And the ATF is offering an additional reward up to $5,000 for every recovery of illegal firearms and arrest of individuals possessing or trafficking firearms. This amounts to a total reward of up to $7,500. And so that was a update from MPD and ATF, I believe maybe about 2 weeks ago. Just a reminder that the mask mandate was lifted on November 22nd. I know it's almost a month from there, but I don't believe I've seen everyone here since the mask mandate was lifted. So I just wanted to repeat that. Masks will still be required regardless of vaccination status, and any private business that wants a mask mandate within their business. The public transportation, buses, trains, stations, trains, and airports, inside schools and libraries. This also includes nursing homes, assisted living facilities, shelters and dorms, and DC government facilities where there's direct interaction between employees and the public. And then finally, I just want to touch on a couple 2C specific updates that I have worked on. I know that on a walk with Commissioner Schenkel, he noted that some roadway signs, roadway sign poles were kind of leaning over at the 900 block of G Street, and those have been fixed. Now they are standing properly. On a walk actually through our alleyway that's between 5th and 6th, just north of H, DDOT cleared the drain in the alleyway. I actually went back there today. I was actually finally able to come back, and I did notice pooling of water in the alley. So I did note that to DDOT and followed up for, what are the next steps there to fix that. And then a neighbor flagged a property at 477 H Street Northwest for a DCRA investigation, just to make sure that work there is being done properly. And then that is scheduled for this Friday. It had previously been scheduled, but it was rescheduled. Now it is on Friday the 17th. So those are my updates, and I'll turn it back to the chair.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Joe. I appreciate those very much. And are there any questions for Joe and the mayor's office? Awesome.
Michael, I have one question.
Yes, Howard. Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry. I called into the mayor's hotline 2 days ago that there's a hazard to pedestrians at the southwest corner of 7th and K Street Northwest in front of the Toolbox restaurant. It's a pipe that is sticking out of the sidewalk. It's about 3 or 4 inches above the sidewalk, but it's like the contractor, whoever it was, walked away from the site, and it's very dangerous, especially for people who are sight impaired. I called it into the DDOT hotline, but we need some follow-up before someone is hurt. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much for flagging that for me. I will go ahead and take a look at that. I got southwest corner of 7th and K Street Northwest with a pipe sticking out of the sidewalk. So I'll go and flag that and get DDOT looped in onto it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Howard, for that. Joe, while you're out there, there's also a fire hydrant missing from that street corner, and down the street at the Eagle Bank, the contractor has left a pipe sticking out of the ground approximately 3 feet directly in front of the ATM machine, which would prevent anybody who is having any mobility issues or having any assisted mobility even to get close to the ATM machine. And I've talked with the bank about that previously, but those are 2 things that should also be flagged with that pipe.
Got it. I will add that to the list.
Thank you. There are 2 questions that came in the chat with respect to the conversion program. Mark Lyon asks, will the city be considering proposals that violate current zoning restrictions to offer more dense housing options?
So going above what a location would be zoned for. Good question. That is something I have to probably check in with them. I don't want to speak out of line here on anything. Usually if there's any change to zoning, like by right to go above, you got to go through the normal process, but I will definitely check in on this.
Thank you for that. And apparently there's a vacant building at 403 8th Street.
403 8th. Okay. I don't know any action that's being taken there specifically, but I'm definitely happy to check in on any status of that with DCRA.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that to our attention, Mark. I'll also take a peek at that as well. I did, just as we were, as Joe was talking, I did put in the chat box, a piece of information. The downtown DC bid is conducting a Parks Master Plan survey, in which they are looking at parks and outdoor areas in the downtown area. I encourage residents to take part in that survey and talk about their needs related to parks and outdoor areas in downtown. Additionally, downtown DC bid has engaged the ANC regarding an economic development plan for the downtown area that I was interviewed for last week, and they're going to be creating a broader committee to look at some of the economic development challenges that are happening downtown, which may include some of the residential conversion ideas. But that is, I don't know if that's even on their radar at this point. But thank you very much, Joe. I appreciate it. And again, on behalf of ANC 2C, congratulations on your wedding.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. I would, is Lieutenant Donegan on with us tonight from ANC, from MPD1? Or did I get that wrong? Let me see.
Yep. Hi.
Hi, how are
I'm
you?
here.
Are you there?
Good. I'm here.
Oh, there you are. I see
Yeah.
you there now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we gotcha.
Okay. I just lost my screen. So I will dive in momentarily. So for the obviously it's the eastern half of 2C that falls under the first district, east of 9th essentially, and then south of Constitution, but including Constitution. So there were 5 violent crimes to speak of in the last month in the ANC. There were 4 robberies that occurred. One was domestic related, and that suspect was arrested on the scene on Indiana Avenue in front of the CSOSA building, actually. But there was a robbery outside of an ATM, 600 block of F Street on November 14th. There was a robbery gun in the 700 block of H Street on December 2nd. And then the other robbery was force and violence, but no serious injuries in the 600 block of H on December 5th. Probably the most troubling violent crime in the last month was a shooting that occurred on November 21st in the 1300 block of Constitution Avenue Northwest. That's where the victim was just, as far as we know, was just driving along, essentially minding his own business, and another vehicle pulled alongside. I got an excuse me. Still working?
We heard that there was a shooting at 1300 Constitution, and then you kind of broke up from there.
Oh, okay. So that one, the victim was just driving along, and another vehicle pulled alongside, and somebody in that car fired off 2 rounds. One struck the victim in his arm. As far as my understanding of that one, I don't know if it was road rage, if it was completely random, or what might have precipitated it. Not much about that. I don't even know if there's really any good video from the area that would have gotten the suspect's vehicle or anything like that. So that's that one is really certainly concerning, to say the least. And then on the property crime side of things, comparing things with last year, it's a hard comparison from where crime-wise where we were last year. It's much better world-wise, I think. But the thefts are up, theft from autos and stolen autos. our big ask continues to be that with the stolen autos, a lot of them continue to be the hop-in stolen autos where somebody's just leaving their car running unattended and either goes to pick up food to make it. A lot of times it's that they go to pick up food to make a delivery, or they're making that delivery to it's the end customer. And they come back and they were out of the car for 30 seconds. Resident, our residents, I think you guys are all smart enough to know not to do that. The problem really comes when these delivery drivers don't quite get the concept that they shouldn't be doing that. So if you happen to see, if you are out on the street and you see your delivery driver pulling up and hopping out with the car running, ask them to turn the car off. And then, if they're willing to, listen to you, take a second to say, hey, it doesn't take much for your car to get stolen. So protect that for them. Help them protect themselves, I should say. And I just saw there was a chat. Oh, just missed it. About the Indiana Avenue violent crime. There was a robbery fear that occurred. It was domestic related. The boyfriend essentially threatened to hurt the girlfriend and robbed car keys from her. He was arrested on the scene. So no real threat to the public with that one. And then we got her some services to hopefully help her move along from that situation. And that was on the 600 block of Indiana on December 7th. So just a week ago. So that's my quick report for you.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant. I appreciate you very much with that. And is there anything that I know that the violent crimes and the gun violence in our city has escalated tremendously. I'm wondering, is there anything that as citizens we can do to help support MPD? I know that Joe mentioned a program about getting guns off the street and things like that, but is there anything that we can be more vigilant with?
Good question. Certainly, if you know about illegal guns, especially the ghost gun problem where they're the kind of home manufactured guns, if you know about that, let us know. I don't, know people that have illegal guns, so I can't really. Don't know if you do. Give me a call. But if you don't know that, then other things that you could do is if you've got a house with street, that or residence that has a good view of the street, get security cameras. You can use the camera rebate program. I can't think of which office runs that, but if you just Google search, or you probably have in previous meeting notes about the private camera rebate program, that's a huge help. Just to have more video coverage out there. We don't maintain a database of who has a camera and what it shows. So I know if there is a visible camera around the scene of a crime, sometimes that can be a little annoying to the camera owner of getting calls and knocks trying to find out what the camera shows. Oh, thanks, Joe. But the private camera is huge, very big help. The other thing is, I would say just in the conversations with new neighbors, people moving in, just, talking about street smarts, not walking around with your head buried in your phone that's in your hand. Put that away, keep your head up, watch where you're going, be aware of what's going on around you. If you're driving, really pay attention both for your own safety and everyone around, your doors. If you're going shopping, put the items in your trunk and go straight home and take them in the house, but don't leave them in the back seat overnight with your work laptop and personal iPad and all that stuff. Because, that, again, if you've lived here long enough, you probably already know that, but just help the new neighbors to learn these kind of things.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And commissioners, do you have any other questions for Captain Donovan?
I don't. But it looks
I have Thomas Lee that you have your hand up.
Yes, officer. Uh, this is Thomas Lee. I'm a resident in the neighborhood. There's been a rash of lootings across the country where it's been organized online, and flash mobs appear, and they all go into a store and loot them. Has the mayor and the Metropolitan Police Department taken any actions in terms of how to figuring how to prevent something like this? I would hate for something like this to occur, in our neighborhood, given the number of retail shops, and especially given the time of year.
Right. That's a good question. It's something that we have definitely been talking about. Obviously, we kind of had a bit of experience with that, probably to a smaller degree last year, just over a more widespread area. And our tactics in responding to it kind of after the fact can be challenging, because as terrifying as it is and how it looks, it's not a violent crime, which is good, and generally people aren't hurt, but that does kind of limit our response afterwards as far as kind of the immediate response. But I do know that most of our businesses have great surveillance camera systems that really help with after the fact identifying who some of these perpetrators might be. And then I guess that's answering the back end of the question. But on the preventative side, we've certainly been in touch with businesses trying to help identify what we think might be likely targets for that kind of a tactic, and reaching out to do walkthroughs and say, here's some things that you might be able to improve upon to limit the likelihood of being that target.
Awesome. Thank you so very much. We really appreciate you being with us tonight. Please be safe, and we look forward to having you guys back at another upcoming meeting with us.
Sure. Thank you.
Awesome.
Have a good night.
Good night. Do I have anybody from MPD 2 with us this evening? I do not believe so. Okay, I would like to move forward with our presentation from DDOT related to the bus priority program on 11th Street Northwest from Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest to K Street Northwest. Johannes, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear
there
me?
You are. Yes. Hey, how are you this evening?
Good. I have a presentation. I should be able to share my screen, correct?
You should be able to share. Let me just make sure. Yep, you should be able to.
All right. If you could let me know if that's working, that would be great.
We see it just fine. Thank you.
Okay, great. Let's see, full screen mode. All right. Okay. Good evening. I think the last time I presented to this ANC would have been probably for H&I bus lanes. So we're really going full steam ahead on the bus priority project. So lots of new projects being started and lots more to come. This project on 11th Street Northwest is one of my latest projects to start here, and this is the first round of introducing this project to the community and getting feedback. So to start off, I just wanted to kind of give a brief introduction to the bus priority program for those that maybe haven't heard a lot about it or are completely unfamiliar with it, just so everybody kind of has a good starting point of what we're doing here. So the bus priority program is an effort to increase the reliability and access for buses all over DC. Our vision, as you can see here, is to provide better bus speeds and reliability for all riders. Faster and more reliable transit provides better access to jobs and opportunity. And then one of the things that we saw bear out in the data is that during this pandemic, Metro bus ridership has actually consistently been higher and near the levels of before the pandemic. So it is a vital line, especially for those folks that are still out and about and moving throughout the city. From the latest ridership data survey, we know that nearly half of the district's Metrobus riders make under $30,000 a year, and 2/3 live in zero-car households. Our program really strives to improve the entire rider experience, including the pedestrian improvements to ensure bus stop accessibility, the potential use of bus lanes to reduce congestion delays, and transit signal priorities and queue jumps to address specific intersections or corridors that could be improved by those measures. We also are taking equity into account. This is an image from the latest update to Move DC, where we had created an index to help us understand the various degrees of transportation equity throughout the city, and gave us an additional way to lay out and prioritize our projects so that we could have the greatest impact to the areas and populations with the most need. The connection to Move DC, the district's goal with Move DC is to have 75% of all commute trips by non-auto mode by 2032. So, some of those modes that are going to be affected by our program are the bus, walking, and bike. We have a lot of corridors that are co-located with priority bike corridors. So we work closely with the Penn bike team here at DDOT to make sure that we deconflict and get the best projects we can for both modes where they interact. And then we really, as I said earlier, strive to make sure that if walking is improved, because if you can't walk to the bus, you can't get on the bus, or you can't get to the bus. What are we doing with the bus anyway? So that brings me next to the bus priority network. So this network is the first iteration of this network. So this is definitely intended to be updated and improved as we gather more data, implement more projects, and land use or other aspects of DC change. So expect regular updates to this in the future, but currently it's 70 miles across all 8 wards of the district. The route, there are 120 Metrobus routes and 5 circulator routes that operate on at least some portion of the bus priority network. And then in its current iteration, 63% of district residents and 79% of jobs are within a quarter mile of our corridors. And then we also, along with this network, we've created a document that lists kind of the various tools you can use to improve the bus and bus efficiency. So it's a flexible and context sensitive way of doing planning. So basically what that means is there's not a one size fits all solution to every single street and every single community in the district. So we make sure that every project gets a fresh look at what we're doing in that area, and make sure that we're applying the right tools in the right places. Here listed, you can see a couple of examples of the types of tools that we may or may not be using on this project. All right, so I'll move on to some of the specifics about the 11th Street corridor. So some of the things that we're looking for here is to create that reliable, fast transit on 11th Street. We're also looking at this as a future connection to the K Street Transitway. This will be one of the eastern, the primary eastern routes to get to the end of the transitway. So 13th and 11th will be the main ways that buses enter and exit the transitway on the east side. And then we're also looking at making improvements to the existing bike facilities that many of you will know. There's bike lanes currently on 11th Street. So we're going to take this opportunity to take a look and see if we can make those function better, or if there's any improvements we can do in conjunction with our projects. And then we're also looking at potential road safety improvements. If there's a particularly dangerous intersection or configuration of the road that we can fix with this project, we're going to strive to do that. Here's a kind of more detailed layout of the extent. So our project is actually going from Massachusetts Avenue to Pennsylvania Avenue. We added kind of this last block and then a little bit so we could take a look at the L Street, Massachusetts 11th intersection, because we know that that is a particularly vexing intersection for a lot of folks. So we wanted to see if we could do anything with this project. There's no guarantee we're going to be able to solve all the problems at that intersection, but hopefully we can at least start to make an impact. And then potentially out of this planning, we could, if it's not something we can do with this project, we can at least inform another more dedicated project to that intersection. And then when we open the K Street Transitway, service will shift to better utilize that asset. And some of that service shift will be an increase in transit on 11th Street that may be moving just from some of the other parallel roads, as we work with WMATA to realign routes in a few years. This is just some of the boarding data that we've collected so far from the pre-COVID ridership data. So this is the fall of 2019. We can see that there's a heavy ridership near the Metro Center connection, which is not surprising. But this is the kind of quantitative data that we're easily can collect without reaching out to the community. But I think that just looking at this data doesn't give us a full picture, and that's why it's so important for us to hear from you and give us that qualitative data, your experience. I don't live in this community. I'm not out there on a daily basis seeing the problems, experiencing the problems, or experience the things that are working really great and that we need to either not touch at all or enhance or figure out how to replicate in other parts of the corridor. So, sometimes we get focused on the negatives, but we also want to hear the positives. So if there's something that's really working great, or something else that's in DC that you really love and that you wish 11th Street had, that would also be great to hear. And then to kind of, bridge the gap between the technical planner speak and engineer speak, and maybe give people an opportunity to take a look at the tools that we have. We've created and published this bus priority program toolbox, and we have all of our tools listed. And this is just a screenshot of the kind of format that you would expect from looking at the tools. We'll have a picture with an example of what the tool would look like, and then a description, and then we kind of have this metric here that shows what the primary benefits are, and then a more descriptive aspect here with typical applications, potential benefits, and then links to local implementations if they have already happened. And then I think the most important step right now is how you can give us feedback, right? So this, this link here will be available after this, and I will try to get it into the chat. Hopefully, it translates well. If not, there'll definitely be follow on. And the form, there's a Google form that you can fill out. It's also available on the Bus Priority website. If you just search Bus Priority DDOT, it shows up. The form's at the bottom of the page. You can select whichever project you'd like to comment on. It could be this one. It could be any of the other ones that that we have going right now. All comments are welcome. And the more specific or the more constructive you can be, the better it is, and the better this project will be. If you don't want to use the Google form, we have an email that's available. This buspriority@dc.gov is available for all projects. Just please let us know which project you're commenting on, if you know the name of it, or have at least some kind of description so we know what area you're talking about. And then if you want to call us, this number is available to leave a voicemail if we're not able to pick up, if it's after hours or something like that. So we expect initial concept designs to come back for another round of review, kind of give you something to look at, dig into, and see some specifics about what this first round of our analysis and initial feedback have shown, and then we can kind of get an idea of if we're on the right track, or if we've completely missed something, or we're not hitting the mark. And we expect that probably late January, early February, and then construction scheduled for fiscal year 23. And that is all I have. I'm open to answer questions, or if y'all want to move on to the next item, that's not offensive to me.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate this, and I appreciate you coming and presenting with us. I like the toolbox idea. I think that's fantastic to have there. When you are putting these plans together, are you also simultaneously planning what success would look like from this program and how that would be measured?
Yeah, so we have internal metrics that we take a look at on a quarterly basis about how completed projects are operating, how the overall program is improving, the experience for the bus, so whether or not that's a faster bus, more efficient bus, a bus that's coming more regularly as scheduled. We work with WMATA on doing deep dives into the data to make sure that we're actually seeing improvements from the project, and then we're monitoring previous projects. So if y'all have followed the H&I bus lanes, there's we're kind of basically on the third iteration of that, from the initial pilot project in 2019 to making the lanes permanent, and then this latest iteration is fixed some of the issues with the projects. So I think that our philosophy in general for most projects is we want to get it as good as possible on the first try, but if something is just not hitting the mark after we get an operational experience of like people riding the bus, trying it out, or if conditions on the ground change, I mean, who would have expected this pandemic, right? So that when that stuff happens, we want to be able to, get that feedback and look at what kinds of changes we can go in and make that are, fairly easy and don't require, millions or tens of millions of dollars. So that's the kind of projects that we're really focusing on with this program and these projects.
That's terrific. Thank you very much. I have Howard Marks has his hand up.
Oh, I actually.
Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner. Sorry, Commissioner.
Thanks. It's okay. I just wanted to know if there were any plans with bike usage with the changes to the bus lane. So, for example, I think one of the things shown was potentially having the buses have the ability to go at the front of the queue and have extended green lights, which are also things I think as a bike commuter, I'm just wondering if it's been considered to do overlap with that, just because I know the bus lanes have been, I feel like, both a good thing, but almost a particularly dangerous place to be when I'm biking, because cars do use them basically to illegally pass, and they kind of do it faster. So I guess I was just wondering if those types of things were going to be also available to bikes in the same way that the bus lanes are, and then also if there's been any talk about ways to enforce better cars not using, like the bus and bike only lanes, and if that would be, I guess, implemented in this.
Yeah, so for this quarter specifically, we are looking at what options we can do to protect the lanes on 11th Street. So potentially parking protected, or other type of configuration, so we can try to like make it so it's as one of the commenters said, paint is not protection, right? So if we have that opportunity, we are looking at trying to protect the lanes all the way through this corridor. It may or may not be possible. We're not sure yet, but we hope so. As far as like the transit signal priority, I don't know if there's an equivalent for bikes and the way that timing works. WMATA has done an extensive amount of research on exactly what types of characteristics a corridor needs to have to be a good candidate for TSP that matches the way that their scheduling system and their computer system and the way our signals work specifically. So they recommend to us, based on years of research and a very well-run program, they'll let us know whether or not this is a candidate for TSP. And then queue jumps, so we look at that mostly as a if there's a particular location where a bus needs that jump to get ahead of a queue, because it may have like a stop and then very quickly need to make a left turn and might not be able to get across traffic in a short period of time. Those are kind of considerations that we look for there, but we'll do an analysis of each kind of location throughout the corridor to see if that tool will work, or if we want to use a different tool such as a lane specifically. And as far as enforcement goes, automated camera enforcement for buses is coming. So stationary cameras are best for catching movement in a bus lane. So if somebody's driving in a bus lane when they're not supposed to be, that would be best captured with a stationary camera, which we're looking to implement more of them. And then for parking in a bus lane, that's best captured with cameras that are on buses. Circulator buses will soon be equipped with those cameras, and WMATA is in the process of running a pilot so they can figure out the best type of camera hardware and software they want to use on their buses. And then we're working through the exact specifications of like how those tickets would be processed through the DC automated traffic enforcement system.
Okay, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
And now we'll go to Howard Marks.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. I wanted to ask a little bit about your coordination with DDOT for this H Street bus corridor study that's also underway. I live at the Residency Gallery Place, and that intersection at 7th and H, especially the southeast corner, every day, almost 24/7, is just full of passengers coming off the subway system, the green line, the red line, yellow line, etc. It seems to me that transit planners may want to relieve some of that pressure that is experienced on 7th Street and to shift some of the passenger load onto 11th, maybe by running express buses up 11th Street to Rhode Island Avenue, for example. So people feel that there's some incentive to get off the train at Metro Center, walk to the intersection of 11th and F or G. and get on the bus there. I mean, could you tell us a little bit about how you're trying to integrate this study with the H Street study? Thank you.
Yeah, so one of my other colleagues is running the planning for the H Street. As much as we'd like to, influence or dictate how people are using our system, I think that everybody's going to try to make the choice that is best for them. So I don't know if we really have the tools or the expertise to be able to try to mode shift folks away from a particular intersection, but will ask her if she has any more updates about where their project is and that intersection specifically. I think they had planned on coming back and talking more once they had or gotten further along in the design process, because I know they're in the design process right now, and but I'll let them know that there's particular concern about that intersection, and I know that intersection is like extremely busy. So it's just a matter of letting that process for their design run go through that, because they're at that point where they concept design is very like, all right, well, we think it should go approximately here. They're at the design level of like, all right, we need to get this 7 millimeters and these 8 millimeters, and make sure that we can fit everything in, and that just takes a little bit longer.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. We really appreciate your presentation with us this evening, and look forward to seeing additional concepts as they roll out. I would like to take this opportunity to encourage everyone to provide that feedback to DDOT regarding this 11th Street project. That is an extremely important process. That community has the opportunity to inform the projects, and as Johanna said, both the good and the bad related to this, because this is taken into consideration as they design these programs. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Awesome. I would like to move back to the local events that impact our community, and I believe I saw Jeff on the line regarding the 2022 Penn Purple Stride 5K walk run scheduled for April 30th.
Would you like me to start?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, if you would please, if you would kind of give us a little bit of a rundown on it.
I will be happy to. I'd like to just recognize my associate, Emily Belcher, who is on the call with us too. And if I leave out anything, Emily, feel free to just interrupt and jump right in. Thank you for having us. We're here tonight representing our client, the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network, the owner and operator of Purple Stride 5K Walk Run, an event that's been held in DC every year for about the past 15 years. We've been managing the event since 2014. The purpose of the event is to raise money for pancreatic cancer research. Purple Stride is held annually in nearly 60 markets across the country. Next year, 59 Purple Stride events will be held simultaneously on the same day, April 30th. We are not doing all 59 of them. We're only doing one. Thank you very much. In 2019, which was the last year that the event was held in DC, Purple Stride raised $1 million for pancreatic cancer research, more than any other Purple Stride in the country. So it's the flagship event of the series. We received a conditional approval from the Mayor's Task Group for this event on June 14th, 2021. Briefly, the logistics and timeline. The event is a timed 5K and an untimed fun run walk, and we hope for about 3,000 participants. We were close to that number in 2019. It's been 2 years since the event happened here in DC, so we don't know how much pent-up demand there is, but we're hopeful. The start time, this is a Saturday. The start time is 9 a.m. The walk run ends at 11 a.m., 2 hours. The road closure schedule, Pennsylvania Avenue between 12th and 14th will close at 7 p.m. on Friday night, April 29th for setup. It's a rather large build out. There's 20 plus tents between 12th and 14th. So we need the evening on Friday to get it all built. The entire route will close at approximately 8:15 a.m. on Saturday morning, and the streets beyond what I just described will reopen at 11 a.m. On Saturday following the end of the walk run, except for Pennsylvania Avenue between 12th and 14th, which is closed until 2 p.m. We need a couple of extra hours to unbuild all that stuff we build on Friday night. Excuse me. There's an opening ceremony which takes place before the 9 a.m. start and an award ceremony after the walk run is over. The event uses what we call the established 5K course that starts and finishes on Pennsylvania Avenue between 12th and 13th and includes 3rd Street, Independence Avenue, 4th Street, and D Street. And I can provide more details on the course if anybody is interested in the more granular detail. We expect over 75 MPD police officers on site to provide security and traffic control. DPW will put large blocking vehicles at most of the intersections along the route for added security. Our event staff will guide runners and walkers at all turns, and we will have emergency medical service personnel at the start finish, plus bike mounted medics and a standby ambulance out on the course. That concludes my presentation. We respectfully request your approval, and I'm happy to answer any questions if any of the commissioners or any of the other community people would like to have any questions.
Hi, Jeff.
Sorry, go ahead.
Hi, this is Gigi. I did have one question. What time did you say the streets close on Friday night for the build out?
7 p.m.
Okay.
And that's between 12th and 14th on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Okay. Well, two questions. And then I was just curious. I know you said there's going to be 20 plus tents. Is that right?
Yes.
So what are the tents for?
Some are for event sponsors who want to interact with the folks. Some of the fundraising teams, if they raise enough, if they hit a certain threshold of fundraising, they get a private tent where they can relax during the event. Then there are a number of functional tents, like we have a registration tent, we have a medical tent, we have a command tent for the organizers of the event.
Okay.
I did submit a site plan to Michael. I don't know whether you need to see it, but it's available if you want to.
All right. Thank you.
Sure.
Any additional questions? And does this also close the 9th Street tunnel?
It does not.
It does not, right. I did not think so. Terrific. Awesome. Any additional questions from community members? I would like to move we send a letter of support for the 2022 Purple Stride Washington, D.C. 5K walk run.
Second.
All those in favor? 3 of 3 commissioners voting in favor of that. We will get that off straight away.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate the opportunity to meet with you tonight.
Thank you, and good luck with your event. It's a tremendous, important activity. So we greatly appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It looks like somebody has their hand up. I'm not sure whether that's for us or not.
That is a clapping hand.
Oh, that's clapping.
Thank you, Mark.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Good night.
Good night. And now we will move forward for the 2022 Chinese Lunar New Year Parade scheduled for February 6th, 2022. And Miss Rita Lee is with us this evening. You are on mute there.
Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. Hi. Good evening, everyone. And this is Rita Lee and from CCBA.
And also joining me is Dr. Wong, the Hongyun Wong. He doesn't show his face probably. And we just want everybody know that finally the Chinese Lunar New Year's parade is coming back. And this time it's going to take the date is the February the 6th, 2022. We are celebrate the Year of the Tiger. This is a Chinese Lunar New Year. It's a 4,719 years, the years of the tiger. As you all know, for the past 4 years, this is a tradition for the Chinatown. That's how we do to celebrate the Lunar New Year. It's not only for the celebrate the New Year, also the cultural event. I think everything remained the same, like what we do for the past 4 years. And the route beginning at, I think you all have the parade route I sent earlier. So the beginning as a 6 and I Street. So we're assembling from the I Street. Then left on the A and G, we turn on left. Then we left on the G, 7 and G. Okay, and hold on, I'm sorry. Also then right on the 7 and H and end with the 6th Street and H in front of the arch. The stage will be faced to the arch, which is the mayor and all the distinguished guests going to have the speech there, and which is the ceremony going to be take place from the hours going to started from 3 o'clock. So I can set a setup time is 9 a.m. and to 11 a.m. Assembly parade is 1 p.m. and the parade started at 2 p.m. Ceremony is at 3 p.m. So everybody can tell. We just probably the whole route takes about 40 minutes because they have some performance on the street, a line dance and dragon dance. Then ending with a firecracker was at 4 o'clock. I think a cleanup and the wrap it up is going to be 5. We've been done this for so many years, and we're going to do the same thing again. I hope the commissioner and everybody can be approved for this this parade, and let's back to the normal our life because we are missing so many fun in Chinatown, and also can be create a lot of business for the local business people. And I want to also report it to the commissioner. Yesterday, Dr. Wang and I already go to the Homeland Security. So we do performance presenting already. So, but they say I have to wait for the ANC to approve, then they're going to discuss any further. So we are here to request ANC, the three commissioner can be approved or request. Thank you. Any question that can be answered?
Thank you, Rita. I appreciate that very much. This is such a great event in downtown DC and for Chinatown. And we so appreciate you putting that on. In 2019, I think that was the last time that it happened.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful day and it was packed with people. So I hope that we can get back to that point today. Hi, we have Ben de Guzman with us tonight from the Mayor's Office of Asian Pacific Island Affairs.
Yes, hi. I just wanted to say hello. I was with Rita and Dr. Wang. Our office actually submitted the letter of intent this year with the Mayor's Special Event Task Group. So I did want to make sure that I was here tonight with you all. I did want to say that actually the last time we did the parade was in fact 2020. Not 2019. It was one of the last very public events that the mayor took part in. So we got it in just under the, right before the public health emergency was declared. And so it's been great to work with Rita and Dr. Wang and CCBA. And we look forward to playing an even more active role this year, just because a lot of the kind of scheduling things has made our role kind of important in terms of making sure that all of this stuff was able to happen by February 6th. Mm-hmm. But we're just here to show our support. And I wanted to say hello, Michael, to you and to the rest of the commissioners and to the rest of the Ward 2 residents as a fellow person who works in Ward 2. So thank you very much for having us here.
Thank you, and thank you for the work that you do at the mayor's office as well. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Rita or Dr. Wong? And I see Thomas Lee has his hand raised.
Hey, thanks for calling on me. I've been a long-time participant, or not a participant, but an attendee of this parade. I bring my girls every year for the past 7 years. And
Thomas, we're getting a lot of feedback from something.
Oh, okay, is that better?
Yes, much better.
Okay, all right. So my girls are getting older and older, and it's harder and harder for me to put them on my shoulders so that they can peer over the crowd. I'm wondering whether the lion dance could be spread out over a wider area. I know that it's always kind of concentrated in a very tight area and it gets a little overcrowded. Would it be possible to work with the city to maybe have it maybe in the big intersection where more people can gather around, or even perhaps in front of the Verizon Center where more people can stand on or sit on the steps of the gallery across the street so more people can watch?
Yes, we do have, this year, we even think about it, we might can break down to several location on the street can do the performance, not just street walking, but also, in front of the showmobile on the near to the arch, we're going to have a platform. So those lion and dragon team will be performance in there. So, but this is a great suggest. I think we will consider it or maybe talk to the lion and dragon team to stop certain point to do the performance like we done before. But this time we're going to do more, like I said, just to put a wider space or get a more, the performance in front of the audience. So that's what we're going to do. But also, do you know, the audience also can go to the close to the showmobile. We have the platform, and they're going to performance there as well.
Awesome, thank you. And I see I have Howard Marks has his hand up.
Yeah. Oops.
Yep.
I'm trying to get my picture up. Okay.
There you go. We got you.
So thank you, Rita, for your presentation. As you probably know, the residents at Gallery Place annually, when the parade is held, has a gala reception on our deck, our plaza. We have events from one of the local Chinese restaurants. We have the guests of our community, both renters and condo owners come. It's the festive day of the year. Now, having said that, my recollection from 2020, I could be wrong, was that what you call the showmobile or the stage was located at 6th and H. 6th and H. That's my recollection. I could be wrong. Now, if you have it under the arch, can you tell us a little bit about?
It's not. I'm sorry. It's not under the arch. It's past the
between 6 and H. Yes.
And
at
H,
the junction of 6 and H.
So it will remain as it was in 2020.
It's the same thing. Remain the same location as past many years. Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that.
Because I say in front of the arch. I keep on saying, because the arch is the most landmark for the DC. I love every time I talk, people say, "Where's the showmobile?" I say, "Close to the arch, next to the arch, or face the arch." Yeah.
Well, as you probably know, there was plans to build a second arch at that intersection.
I know. I saw. Yeah, I heard. Yeah.
It never happened, but we are very excited that you're going through with these plans. Very excited, and we wish you very well in the year of the tiger.
Thank you. I'm so happy to see you again each year. I always tell you, sir.
Okay.
Well, I would like to move that we send a letter of support for the 2022 Chinese Lunar New Year's Parade on February 6, 2022.
Second.
And seconded by GJ. All those in favor? All right, so 3 of 3 commissioners voting in favor. We'll get that off to you all, and we look forward to seeing you, and definitely we'll be there.
Sure, be our VIP.
Awesome. We
Thank
will.
you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Wong.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Rita.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Talk to you soon. Have a great night.
Okay, bye.
Um, um, do we have anybody from Tom's Watch Bar on with us this evening? Oh, Sedone is here with us.
I
Whoops, I lost you.
was on mute.
There you go.
I did not intend to present, but I saw that we were on the agenda, so I wanted to just sort of make sure that I was here. Happy to answer any questions, or maybe this is just an update regarding the last meeting and where we are.
Yeah. At our last meeting, just to recap, there was some concern from the residents of 777 Gallery Place. I think I have that right. Three sevens. I might have added a fourth there. Regarding potential noise and disruptions from the establishment. The ANC voted at that time to, if a community agreement wasn't reached, that we would submit a formal protest, which did not happen for a variety of reasons, with the holiday occurring and needing to get some additional plans in place. So the ANC did submit a letter of protest for the license, and I see the end of last week, I believe, Sedone, you sent some documentation over to 777 and us. Is that?
That's correct. Yes.
That's correct.
I think there are a couple additional pending questions. I will respond to that. I do have a more recent layout that I can provide that I actually was given this morning. I don't know that it'll be helpful because they are architectural drawings, but I have them. I can, send them your way, and I'm happy to discuss sort of a resolution here as we move forward.
And Howard, I know that you were representing 777. Is there a particular time for a meeting that would be best for you all and to meet with Sedone and the client, her client?
Well, of course, we're always happy to meet. Would have to be either Wednesday or Thursday, tomorrow or Thursday. I'm very busy on Friday, and the hearing is on Monday. So, yeah, we're always willing to meet. If we could reach a compromise on hours of operation, if we could reach a compromise on capacity limits, if we could reach a compromise on noise insulation mitigation, I think we might have we might be able to get this thing resolved. Got it.
And just Monday's, I believe it's Monday's meeting is a roll call. Thank you. It wouldn't come. I was like, call something as a roll call meeting just for the parties to come together to set dates for potential mediation. So we do not have to meet before that time, but I'm totally open to doing that. And I can send an email to both of you for potentially Thursday or the following week, if that works for you all.
I am happy to do so. My client cannot come in to meet in person. They can do so virtually.
Got it.
Want to have a virtual meeting, I am happy to do that as well. We cannot meet at the premises or inside, right. So we can be, if you want to show me other things or if we want to discuss outside, that's fine as well.
Got it. So why don't we first establish this virtual meeting with the client and with residents of 777, and we can move forward with putting out some potential resolutions to the matter.
That sounds good.
Okay, so I'll send some dates over for folks if that would be helpful, to try to get some individuals, get some dates on the books for us to talk.
One thing is tomorrow night we have our annual meeting of our condo board from 6 to 7. But other than that, I think I'll just put aside whatever I already have on my schedule and I'll postpone it. I think it's critical that we meet to get this thing resolved. Thank you for the idea.
Thank you.
Thank you all both so very much. But I just wanted to provide that brief update for the community and to let us know where we are with that. And I hate that these are called protest hearings. I just, it always bothers me because we're trying to create a resolution to the matter. But so I appreciate both of you doing that, and I will send emails out to both of you, and we can go from there.
Thank you very much. That sounds good. I look forward to talking to you or seeing you soon, the both of you, Commissioner.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sedone. I appreciate it. Thanks, Howard. Is anybody representing Penn Social LLC? I don't see them on this evening. I think this is something that we're, as a commission, that we're going to need to discuss with Penn Social. I know that the establishment currently has, I'm just looking for the particular drawing here, currently has some outdoor seating. There is a residential building that's directly across from this location. And they do have a settlement agreement currently in place with the residents across the street. Is anybody from the residential building across the street from Penn Social with us this evening? They are proposing the addition, making permanent the tables that they have placed on 8th Street along the side. And I just wanted to see if there was any feedback from community members regarding that. Commissioners, do you have any concerns with that? I'm just concerned of late night disruptions or possible late night disruptions with that apartment complex there. And Commissioner, I think is Nelson. Is that your area? I think it is, right?
801 E Street.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, but I can't bring to mind right now what complex that is there, what condo is there.
Let's
So I think we probably need to hear from the residents just to make sure.
Yeah, let's table this and we'll recall it in January.
Okay.
Okay. Awesome. And then our last item of business this evening, I believe, if I cross things off correctly, is related to 610 624 I Street Northwest, the extension of the BZA order number 19124 and 19124A. And I see we have Josh Olson from Monumental Realty on the line with us, and Christine Scheiker from Holland Knight.
Hi, yes. Good evening. I'm Christy Scheiker with Holland and Knight, and I am representing Monument Realty on this project. Is it okay if I go ahead and share my screen?
You please, by all means.
Thank you. If you'll give me one moment. All right, tell me, can you see an image of a building?
Yes, we can.
All right, wonderful. So we are here tonight to request a time extension of a previously approved BZA case. The project is the I Street Chinatown residential project that's been before this ANC many different times. It is a proposed residential project fronting on I Street. It's on the south side of I Street between 6th and 7th Street in square 453. The project proposes residential use with ground floor retail and a community use in historic buildings fronting the alley. As you can see here, the project involves extensive historic preservation of 9 contributing buildings on the site. It also includes a community space, which is proposed to house an Asian Living Arts Center, including cultural, educational, and community-oriented programs. And while not subject to the inclusionary zoning program, it actually proposes to include some affordable housing. Right now, it's estimated to be 8 units based on the square footage. This project has been through a variety of entitlement processes and has come before this ANC, as I said, many different times. Every time the ANC has unanimously supported it. It's a great project. It has a BZA approval, and it also has a mayor's agent and historic preservation approval. And we also had to close and reopen and expand some parts of the alley system. So here is a kind of a bird's eye view of the project. I Street is on the north, H Street is here. Here's the Chinatown Arch that people were talking about a moment ago. The project proposed and has gotten approved the expansion of this alley system right here to 20 feet. This is the boundaries of the project. The BZA approved technical relief on this little court right here and technical relief on this portion of the roof structure for a stair tower that was required for the building code. The project was approved and it was extended to a period of September 28, 2020. Right now, because of automatic COVID extension, it is valid. The order is valid until March 28th, 2022. And so we are requesting an extension under the provisions of the zoning regulations that allows an extension for good cause shown. So given the dates that you saw, and here's kind of the reasons why, before the pandemic, the owner was working very closely with an apartment hotel hospitality company. They'd entered into a lease, they were ready and working on plans to go forward. Unfortunately, we all know what happened in March of 2020, and the lease was terminated. And then there were just recurring challenges due to the pandemic. We are now in an excellent place where we are negotiating term sheets for debt financing and ground lease financing, such that the project can move forward. But we need a bit more time in order to get those building permit plans completed and get them submitted. And it's just taking a little bit longer at DCRA to get these things accepted and then to start the process. And so therefore, we are asking for an extension under the provisions of the zoning regulations to allow us. It would be a 2-year extension, so we'd have that time in order to get our building permit plans finalized and get them submitted so that the project could go forward. And we're asking the ANC to support that. And with that, we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for Christy?
I do not. Ellie, I don't know if you did. I can't quite see you, but there are some hands up.
Just quickly, if a 2-year extension is kind of standard for the good cause showing, or how that was come to. I don't particularly have an issue. I'm just curious if that's standard.
Yeah, that's just the standard time frame for a BZA extension is 2 years. We anticipate that we will be in well before that. We're actively working on those building permit plans, and given this delay due to the pandemic, the owner is definitely ready to move forward and not just be holding the site idle. So we anticipate we'd be in before then, but because that's the standard time period, we figured we would just go ahead and ask that consistent with the regulations.
Sure, thank you. No other questions for me.
Oh, that is 2CO2. Is that where that building is located in 2CO2?
No,
No, I think it's in Commissioner Shankles.
yeah, it's
Oh, it's
201.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Howard, I know you have your hand up there.
I do. This is really a shot in the arm for Chinatown. I salute you for this proposal. I just had a few questions. Are you talking about apartments or condos or both? And how many?
This is Josh Olson from Monument, and excuse my voice. It's been a long day, so I'm losing it, but hopefully you can hear me. We're considering apartments, rental apartments. That's actually been one of the reasons this project has taken so long. We were initially going to do condos, and the market wasn't there for those. We then switched to the use that Christy mentioned, and now we're doing rental apartments.
How many?
158 is the current plans.
And does that include like studios, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms?
Yes, the normal mix. I want to say there may even be a 3-bedroom or 2, especially in the historic row houses at the front of the project.
And just the last question, have you been in touch with the Six and I Historic Synagogue about its impact on the structure, this historic synagogue, the building of these apartment buildings? And I assume that you've been in touch with them and they've approved of this project?
Yeah, that's a very good question. We are in regular contact with Six and I Synagogue. I think we have a very good relationship with them. They actually, so there's the synagogue on I Street, there's the synagogue, then there's a office building, and then the next row house they actually own. So we have all the other row houses that are part of the project, but the first row house, if you're coming from the east, they own. So we've talked with them in detail about how we'd move forward with the project and protect their property, protect our property. More recently, they were doing some mechanical work on the roof, and we cooperated with them in terms of letting them set up their crane on our property. So we have a very good relationship with them.
That's good to hear. Thank you so much, and good luck with the project, Josh.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And we have a question in the box, in the chat, sorry. Will there be community space in the monument development? And I believe that was yes.
Yes, there's approximately 2,300 square feet of community space in some of the historic structures that front on the alley.
And could you just describe what that means, community space?
So it is community space that's going to be devoted to the Asian Living Arts Center, which is part of the work that that monument had done as part of the preservation of these buildings and its important history in Chinatown. Got
it. Terrific. And if everything were in place at this point, or like how soon do you think that you would be starting construction on this block, half block?
So that depends a little bit on how quickly we can get permits out of DCRA. That's one reason we're asking for the extension, because it's been slow throughout the pandemic. Ideally, we'd be starting construction, call it late summer, early fall of next year.
Okay. Got it. Any additional questions from anybody? Mark, you have your hand up.
Sure. While this project languishes, is the property owner going to do anything to improve security and lighting along the street?
So we do make pretty much constant efforts to police these properties. I will confess it's a problem. It's a challenge for us. We have a parking operator that we have there on purpose, not because we're making much money from the operations, especially during the pandemic, but mostly so that we just have a person there. So that covers, I think they operate up till 10 p.m. At night. So that covers a good portion of the time. And then we have people going by. We don't have someone stationed there permanently, but we do have people going by to check on the properties. And yes, we've had problems. We have the constant issues with homeless people breaking into the properties. We had a fire in one of the buildings that a homeless person set. So we're constantly having to resecure the properties. So it's a challenge, one that we are dealing with on a pretty regular basis. With respect to lighting, that's something I'll have to look into. And the reason I don't know the answer is because I'm not even sure we have power to the buildings. I think at one point we had the Pepco power shut off. In part, that was to, again, prevent people from breaking into the buildings and using the power and creating a hazard. But I can check whether there's any power that could be used to then power lights on the buildings.
Yeah, lights and cameras would be appreciated. You have a pretty much continuous open air drug market taking place right in front of your property 24/7. So it would be nice to put a stop to that.
And if I may add, based on the discussion we just had with First District, if you did put cameras out there, that would help the police department with they're trying to impact that activity that's happening out there all the time.
Okay, and this is a question for you guys. Do you know whether the police department has a program where we could host a camera? Has that ever come up in the ANC where property owners cooperated with them to do something like that?
Yes, there is. I believe it is a rebate program. You purchase and get there. Joe has put it in the chat box there. You purchase and then you get a return from the city by providing access to that footage when asked for it or when it is needed. I know that the police department comes by our building every now and again and asks to see our video footage for a certain date and time.
Okay, we'll definitely look into that. I mean, my hope would be that even just having a camera there might discourage some of the activities that happen at the middle of that block.
Yeah. That would be great. And one of the other things that I can check with MPD about is I know they have a mobile camera system that they can erect on a street. I've seen that around as well, that we can see if this would be something that would be ideal for that location or not as well. So
that would be great
as well. I would like to move that we send a letter of support for the BZA extension for this project.
Second.
And all those in favor? Awesome. So 3 of 3 commissioners voting in favor of that, and we will get that out to you guys in the next week.
Great.
Definitely.
Would you like for us to send a standard kind of form draft that is?
That would be wonderful. I love.
Yeah, we'll get that to you tomorrow. We'll just use based on other letters ANC2C has issued, and you can revise it as you want. But thank you very much for your support. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I appreciate you both, and look forward to this property coming to fruition. I think that it will be a welcomed addition to that street and the neighborhood as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Is there the only other item of business that I have is more of an announcement than anything at this point. I did want to announce that we did receive notice from DHS, the Department of Housing Services, that the Pat Handy legacy site, which is located on 5th Street Northwest, that site is going to be extended through April 15th in its current usage. Unfortunately, they have made this decision based on the COVID guidance that is still in place with social distancing, with the shelters, and with hypothermia season upon us. I have asked a number of questions, as well as the mayor's office and the council member's office, about this continuation. We have been assured that this is not impacting the movement of construction that will begin in the summer of 2022. However, it's still there begs to question a significant amount of, why there was movement so quickly of the women from this shelter, because of the shelter being in need of such repair, and now it is being housed. It's housing additional individuals. So I did want to make that announcement, and hopefully we can get some resolution from DHS on making sure that this happens. This is happening at the Deputy Commissioner's office, that they are making these decisions and extending the sites. I have not heard from the residents there for a minute about if conditions have improved or worsened in the area. I know that Joe and others were really attempting to make progress there, and has been on that. Is there any updates from anybody on that? I know I hear the open drug market at 6th and I. Okay. So I'll be checking in and following up with that as well. Additionally, we do not have our meeting schedule for 2022, and I would like to propose that we continue with the second Tuesday of the month, at least for January of 2022, if that works for the commissioners.
Yes, that's fine with me.
Yep.
And then we can schedule a full year at that point. We are required to move back to an in-person meeting beginning in February, March. I believe March would be the first meeting that is required. We are working to determine how we do that in a hybrid fashion, so that we can provide the opportunity for residents to connect from their home or virtually to us in person, the commissioners in person. And we are checking to hopefully move that back to the MLK library. But there are some questions that we have that we're working with them currently on. So that is a TBD, and we will make those announcements as soon as we have that information available. Any questions from anybody else or any concerns? Awesome. Well, I'd like to wish you all a very happy holiday and a happy new year. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Fabulous. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Awesome. Thank you all so very much. And we will see you on, I believe, January 11th is the next meeting.
A good one. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Feel better, Ellie.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.